Hello, welcome to Aaron's Game Room. I'm Aaron as always, and man, after that last video being the longest video I've put out, I think I'm going to try and keep this video closer to our normal range, maybe even closer to our older normal range. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started into this one. Now, I have talked before about my little collection of like classic game spin-offs, various card games and stuff based on old games we probably all played growing up as a kid, bought at Walmart. Monopolies and Sorries and things like that. Connect 4 and Battleship, yada yada yada. And I've done videos over a bunch of them, but I actually did add a new one to my collection recently. And I was thinking maybe I could talk about that today. Now, as I said, I have pretty much done videos over pretty much all of my little Monopoly collection here. I know I've done videos over all of these, and I haven't done videos over these two. I might do one over this one at some point. I won't be doing over this because this is just one of a million, you know, Monopoly reskins. There are technically a couple of different things and that they added to make it Pokemon-esque. I've seen a more recent Pokemon Monopoly that actually seems like way different, almost like its own game. I don't want it or anything, but I've seen it. This one is pretty much just Monopoly, but it has these little like power cards that like you can use based on which token you're using. And I'm pretty sure they're all like one-time use things and then they're over. So it's a very minor change to the overall gameplay. I'm not going to make a video on that one. This one I really should make a video on someday because I actually really like it. This is what I usually tell people who are looking to play Monopoly, but you know, don't want to play the super long version that is standard Monopoly, which it isn't as long as we follow the normal rules, people. But we'll get past that and say this is usually the one I recommend to people that because it has a very strict ending to it. But hey, none of these are what the video is about because this is my Monopoly collection. But also, I've got this recent one, Monopoly Dice. Yes, here we go. This is what I've been trying to lead up to. Oh, that's loud. This is a press your luck Monopoly game, and yeah, I guess let's talk about how that works. Now, there may be older versions of this I'm not familiar with, but I think I've mentioned these ones in a video way back when. Hasbro had a line of these dice version. They're all called something dice. I know there's Monopoly Diced, I know there's Clue Diced, and I know there's Sorry Diced. I haven't done my research recently to remember if there's older versions of those. But yeah, they did this little line in the early 2020s of these dice version spin-offs of some of their games. And sorry, my dog's being my dog as usual, so you can stop. And yeah, let's go ahead and show you to the table and show you guys Monopoly Dice. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this box open here. I'll be honest, it's a little hard to get open. There we go. What we have inside is a bunch of dice. Yes, bunch of clicky-clacky dice. Ooh. These 4 houses, hotel. They're clearly the hotel molds from the main game, but they're green like houses. We've got this nice little board here, little indentions, which are dice into. And then some rules and our scorecards. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. There's really nothing for setup here. Just make sure you have the board nearby, grab all the dice, keep these guys nearby. Everyone's going to need a little score sheet, which you can use once here, or honestly, you can just use any kind of piece of paper to keep track of your own, and of course a pencil or pen or something to note down your points as you go. And yeah, that's all you need for setup. Now, this is a press your luck dice rolling game, so pretty much all the rules you're generally used to in dice rolling games apply here. You're going to end up rolling your dice and then choosing which ones you want to keep and which ones you want to keep rolling. And then you're going to roll until you either choose to stop or until you're forced to stop. And you'll get points based on what happens in that meantime. So, yeah, let's go over those. All right, on your turn, you're going to roll all of these dice here, except for this one with all the little green houses on it. That one you're actually going to set off to the side. You only get to roll that if you meet some certain conditions. But yes, you're going to roll all these dice here. I think every dice here is unique except for maybe these 3. I think these 3 are all the same here. They've either got go to jails or pass goes or blanks. But all the rest of these here are all totally unique. Every one of the properties that appears in Monopoly is on these dice. So yeah, every dice is a little different, which can be a little bit annoying as the gameplay goes, but let's go on. Basically, on your turn, you're just going to roll all the dice. Woo! And then you can either choose to keep stuff or keep rolling. One thing you do not get to choose about is if you roll any go to jails, those instantly go to the board. There's no choosing on that one. Go to jails, go to the board. That is your bust mechanic for this game. If you end up getting 3 go to jails, then you go to jail and you don't get any points this turn. Just, oh, you busted, you pushed too far, bad luck, sorry. But as for all the properties and all that, you can choose to place any of these on the board here. Keep in mind that once they are on the board, they are locked. This is not a game where you can choose to re-roll stuff later. Once it goes to the board, it is stuck there, no changing it, no moving it, no pulling it back. Now, lucky for me, I got lucky and happened to roll both the dark blues right away, so I can just, boom, pop those right there. And then, as for deciding what else I might want to roll, see, I got 2 of these reds here, so maybe I want to do that, but is the 3rd red even on one of these dice? It's not on that one. It's not on that one. And then it is on this one, and there's a wild in this one, so well, yeah. So maybe I can choose to, so I can still keep those and try and get it. But there are chances, and there are times in the game where what you might want to keep, you might not even have the ability to get a full set on anymore. But yeah, so now that I've done that, I can choose to stop, or I can choose to keep rolling. I'm gonna choose to keep that one as well. And we're gonna see if I can roll this one into a red or a wild, and this one into a electric company. I guess I was a little wrong. They don't just appear once, but the number of times they appear on here is fairly equal, as in like the ones that have the fewest appear the least, and the ones that have the most appear the most. And then, oh, now that I've rolled a full matching set, now I can roll this die. So I can add this to my hand now and roll it for effects as well. Alright, so on the one more roll here, hey, I got that. That completes another set there. And then now we go over the house die. Now I can go over a few more things here. So again, if it's all the properties, there's really nothing different about them. They all have their own little number value on them, which we'll get into at the end of a round. And the only other things to go over are jail, which we've already gone over, and we haven't seen it yet, but, oop, that's not going to go to jail. But there is also the, ooh, not on this one. Not on that one. This one, there we go. There's also the go arrow. Anytime you roll this go arrow, you just immediately get $200. But again, you only get to keep that if you end up not going to jail. If you go to jail, you don't get anything, even your money from rolling go. But if you roll this normally, go ahead and mark it down your paper, you know, oh, go, $200, boom. And then keep rolling. You don't lock this one in like the other one. So if you roll go, you simply mark your 200 and then keep rolling it. But unfortunately, that ended up going to jail for me. The only other things on the property that's to go over are chances. Chances are wild. They can be used in place of any property. But like I said earlier, once something goes to the board, it stays locked into that. You have no chance of changing it around. So if I had rolled a wild and ended up for some reason on an earlier turn placing it here, I then couldn't later go, oh, but now it'll help me complete that. I'll move it here. Nope. Once something gets locked into the board, it is locked into the board. And last we have this house hotel die that we just rolled. You can only roll this once you have a complete set of properties. I don't believe that counts for railroads or utilities. It has to be one of the outer colored properties. But you can roll a house, which lets you take one of these houses, take a house and keep it in front of you. If there are no houses left to buy, you're out of luck. There's the broken house, which makes you return one of these. There's the hotel, which is so funny that they include like a hotel here, but these are all just green there. But they're the hotels. Anyway, sorry, let's go. This one instantly scores you $5,000, sort of like how the Go instantly scores you $200. This instantly scores you $5,000, but only if you've already collected 4 houses. And then lastly on this one, there's a get out of jail free. So if you end up rolling this one, you actually get to remove one of your go to jail dice from the board and continue rolling it with the rest of your stuff. Yeah. And you know what? I think at this point, I'm going to call it before I end up getting busted. And now we can go over how scoring happens at the end of a turn. Alright, for scoring, it's pretty simple. All you're going to do is, if you have any complete sets, like for example, I have the complete dark blue set here, then you're going to score whatever the number is below it here. There's also a little chart in the rule book that shows it as well. So since I got both of the dark blues, I'm going to score $3,500, points, whatever, for that. If you have any, again, another complete set here, I have both of these, so that's 800 for both the utilities. Then, if you have any incomplete sets, if you saw my last roll, I did roll a single green, so I got locked to the board. If you have any incomplete sets, then whatever the set with the highest value is, basically whichever one farthest around it is, green technically has the highest value here, you're going to score points based on how many dice are there. So I'm going to get 400 points for that one, even though if I hadn't locked that one in, or if I had locked this one in as a lower number somehow, like that, then this would be my highest set, 250, and I would actually get 500. But there's a little less luck on it, because green is the highest value set I collected. I get a point for each, or points based on the number on the die. So I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah, but all greens are worth 400, so I would get 400 points there. If you collected any houses, you get 1,000 for each house you collected. And yeah, that's it. That's scoring and all that. You're now done. Go ahead and take all the dice off. Set the house dice off to the side again. And then just pass this along to the next player. Repeat the process until you reach the goal. The rulebook says to play till 15,000, or you can go to a higher number like 25,000 or whatever. I'm trying to remember. I think when we played, I think we might have played to like 50,000 or something like that. Because we seem to wrap it up pretty quick. I think I just got really lucky when we played. But that's really all there is to it. It's just roll until you choose to stop, or until the coppers tell you no. Yeah. I guess let's go up and talk about it. Now, I'm someone that likes pressure luck games perfectly fine. I've got quite a few of them. I've got Sushi Roll, the Sushi Go dice game. I've got Zombie Dice. I've got the Catan dice game. I literally was playing that last night. I've even got some pressure luck card games like Push and Let's Dig for Treasure. So I by no means have any aversion to pressure luck stuff and all that. I knew that's what that was basically going in when I wanted to try and all that. I do have some complaints with this one. The fact that the scoring can be so wide, I think is a little bit of a problem, because pressure luck stuff is already very luck-based and all that. Clearly, if you have a good run and someone has a bad run, you could have a big lead right off the bat. But with this one, the fact that I could get locked in, like you saw, my first roll got me 3,500, and another player might end up getting locked into the smaller browns or light blues or something like that properties, and end up not really getting much points because of it. So it's sort of double luck situation on you have to be lucky enough to not get busted by go to jail. You have to be lucky enough to get some matching sets, and you also have to be lucky enough to get the higher matching sets. I guess technically if you nailed the lower ones right away, you could end up maybe being lucky enough to roll a bunch of houses or hotels to score a bunch of money. But in general, it just seems if you're lucky enough to get the high properties, you're already going to get a huge lead, especially if you get to do that a couple turns in a row. I think that's why when I said we played it, we ended up going to way above the 25,000 they said. I legit think we played to 50,000 just because the game would have been over by like my third or fourth turn maybe, because I'd already scored. I was doing really well. So that is a bit of a problem with it, because there's such a wide range in how you can score. That means there could be there's sort of a double emphasis on the luck of what you're rolling. So that can be a problem for some people. But if you are just a fan of Monopoly and you're looking for, some little quick dice, then it is good for that. I do like that it has all the different properties and all that. But again, the properties are sort of their own negatives sometimes too. The fact that every dice is a little different. It means once you've rolled, you have to kind of like pick up some dice and like look around at like what's on the dice. And that's a little tedious. It's a little annoying to have to even look what you possibly could roll if you kept these dice out of those dice. It can make some turns take a little while longer. If you're trying to decide, am I going to keep the reds or the yellows? Well, if I keep the yellows, let's see, and that means I'm going to roll these dice. And, there's not even enough yellows there for me to finish that set. So I guess if I do the reds, let's see. Okay, yes, there is enough for me to finish on the reds. So you kind of have to like look over the dice to kind of figure out maybe what you should and shouldn't keep sometimes. And that can be a little annoying. As well as you do kind of have to watch players while they're doing that, because it is a very easy opportunity to cheat if you're not paying attention to what they rolled or whatever. Not that I had that problem with my group, but I acknowledge that that is a very easy opportunity to cheat when the game sort of requires you to pick up the dice and start rotating them around and looking at it. If I didn't exactly remember what you rolled, it'd be pretty easy for you to put something down on a side you didn't put it down on and end up keeping it that way. Or maybe even accidentally doing it, just not remembering what you actually rolled. So that is a little bit of annoyance to it. That's definitely a negative on it, that you do have to kind of look over the dice and everything. But otherwise, as a whole, I mean, am I going to recommend this to any hardcore gamers or anything? No, and honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep it around. I might keep it around because it fits my little collection thing that I've got going on, but I might end up ditching it because when it comes to pressure luck games, I think I prefer to play some of my other ones. I think I would certainly end up playing Gekido or Catan Dice for sure, or even probably Yahtzee over this. I do love rolling the big handful of dice. There's just something fun about, you know, rolling dice, but rolling that huge handful of dice is a lot of fun. Although, again, I can see for younger players that being a problem. If you're playing with kids and they got tiny hands, they might actually have trouble holding all of these dice in their hand on their own. I mean, they fit in my hand okay, but they also mostly fill up my hand. I bet even my teen daughter might have trouble even actually rattling these around in their hands. So you might end up in a situation where kids kind of have to roll these in chunks. So again, it's sort of a positive negative. I love the big chunky handful, but also that big chunky handful is a lot of dice. Overall, I think you can tell this one's not going to end up getting a hard pass or smash or whatever, up or down, approve. We're going to be kind of in the middle on this one.
Oh yeah, I'm realizing I didn't go over blanks. Blanks are nothing. If you roll them, they're just, you know, roll again. As far as accessibility in the game too, the game's not super easy to find as far as I know. The only place I think I've really found it is secondhand or on Amazon, and it's not expensive, but I think I paid like $12 for it or something like that. It's middling. Anyway, Monopoly Dice, totally something I'm not going to tell you is a bad game to pick up. I think plenty of families and stuff will have fun with it. It's a nice one to add to a little collection of Monopoly things, but overall, it's definitely got some problems in that the dice, you have to look over your dice a lot. There's big point swings and all that, and the game can end particularly fast, which maybe it's okay with the big point swings because it can end fast. Overall, I'm going to say that Monopoly Dice is barren okayed.